Hi, I'm Stuart. Welcome to my channel. Thanks for viewing my video. In this video I'm going to do the Rock On Rap Songs book tag. This was an original tag created by Nicole at Nicole's Bookish Nook. I saw this video and I asked in Nicole's comments if it would be okay if I did this tag, and she said she was fine with that. I was also tagged in a video by Pat at Book Chat with Pat, 8668. So thanks to Nicole and Pat. There are 10 questions in this tag. The first question is, It's a Hard Knock Life by Jay-Z. A fiction or nonfiction book about an organization, a poor family, or an orphan. In Star Trek, the original series, The Contest of Principles by Greg Cox, there is a planet the Enterprise travels to oversee an election, the first election that's been taking place in this planet in a quite long time. And there are two political parties in this election, and political parties are organizations. In Juniper and Thorn by Ava Reed, the main family in the book is very poor. They've fallen on hard times. In The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches by Sangu Mandana, there are a lot of orphans in the story. Every witch is an orphan because not long after a witch is born, both their parents die. The second question is Walk This Way by Aerosmith featuring Run DMC. A favorite book of yours that blends genres. For me, this book is God of the Woods by Liz Moore. This book is both a mystery and a thriller. The third question is Just Lose It by Eminem. A book that you think is funny or ridiculous in a bad way. I couldn't think of a book that is funny in a bad way, but From the Earth to the Moon by Jules Verne is ridiculous. This whole book reads like a how-to manual on how to build a cannon and a projectile so that you can shoot, so that people can go on the projectile and be shot by the cannon to the moon. And this is a spoiler, a bit of a spoiler, so I'll put the spoiler text in the bottom of the screen. But after all this, after reading this whole book, and they finally get the projectile to be shot to the moon, it misses the moon. And so the people in it are just going to die when the oxygen runs out. This was just kind of a waste of a book to read. The fourth prompt is Thunderstruck by AC/DC. A book that shocked you in a good or bad way. A book that shocked me in a good way is Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. I didn't expect to like this book as much as I did. I thought I might like it, but I liked it a real lot. So this book shocked me in a good way. Midnight Sun by Stephanie Meyer shocked me in a bad way. I love the Twilight series, and this book was a Twilight retelling from the perspective of Edward. And I just didn't like the book very much. It was too long, and Edward in this book was a very self-loathing character. I just didn't like it. It was a disappointment after how much I loved Twilight. The fifth question is Welcome to the Jungle by Guns N' Roses. This is a book about LA, or a book that takes place in or around LA. For this question, my answer is Still Just a Geek, an annotated collection of musings by Will Wheaton. Will Wheaton played Wesley Crusher on Star Trek The Next Generation, which was filmed in Los Angeles. And there's other things he did filmed in Los Angeles too, I think, but I'm mainly thinking of that series. So this is a nonfiction book, but it was set in Los Angeles. I know that I've read fiction books that are set in Los Angeles, but I'm not quite positive which ones. I looked at books that I thought that I've read, but I don't necessarily have them anymore, or necessarily want to do the research to figure that out. But I'm sure I've read fiction books that have been set in Los Angeles. The sixth question is Gimme All Your Lovin' by ZZ Top, your favorite romance book. or if you do not read romance, your favorite couple in any book. For this one, recently I've read a lot of romance books. For questions and tags like this, it should be something that sits with you for a while and you remember. Because as much as I liked recent books, I don't know if a couple years down the line I'll think of them. For this book, I'm selecting I Kiss Cher Wheeler by Casey McQuiston. To me, it's as much a mystery as a romance, and also a commentary on Southern Christian schools. But because it's identified as a romance and Storygraph, I'm choosing it for the romance, which is in this question. The 7th question is Fight for Your Right to Party by the Beastie Boys, a book centered around a celebration. For this book, I'm selecting Halloween Party by Agatha Christie. As you can see, it's by the title, it's centered around a Halloween party. Unfortunately, really early in the book, at this party, a kid gets killed, but it's still centered around a celebration. The 8th question is Firestarter by Prodigy, a book that has fire in the title or has an orange-red cover. I was kind of tempted to select Stephen King's Firestarter, but that seemed kind of too easy and kind of a cheat, because I think I read it years ago, but I'm not absolutely positive. Instead, I went for a book with orange in the cover, and that book is The Martian by Andy Weir. The 9th question is Humble by Kendrick Lamar, a fiction or nonfiction book that left you stunned at the audacity of the main character or the writer. As far as the main character, that would be Lestat and the Vampire Lestat by Anne Rice. There are rules that vampires are supposed to follow in this world, and Lestat pushes the bounds all the time. He's just a very audacious character, and sometimes he does things just to see what'll happen, just to kind of poke people, or other vampires actually. As far as the author, I have several. The first is The Power by Naomi Alderman. This kind of flips the script on, in this book, women get a power, and that power is the power to control electricity. It does vary in strength, but it's a very audacious concept, and the way the book goes is very audacious too, but I won't say because that'd be a spoiler. Another book where the author is audacious, I think, is The Secret History by Donna Tartt. Early in this book, you learn that a group of students had murdered another student, and there were a group of students either was involved in the murder or knew about the murder, and these are the students you follow. So a book, which I think was around 400 pages, I think a little more than that, you follow characters that you know either committed or were in some way involved with a murder. So that's a pretty audacious concept. Turned out to be a very popular novel, but just the idea of it, I think, is audacious. The final book is This Book is Gay by Juno Dawson. This is a nonfiction book that talks about various aspects of gay people. Came out in 2014. Just the idea of writing this book and getting it published, to me, is pretty audacious. I think in 2014, things weren't as bad related to book banning as they are now. But still, when you write a book like this, you just have to know that there's going to be a lot of pushback on it. So I think the author is very audacious writing this book. Provides a lot of good information, but a very audacious book to write and publish. The 10th question is tag some other people. Before I tag anybody, I'm just going to say, if you're watching this video, consider yourself tagged. If you like to do this, tag, please do so. But I am going to tag a bunch of people. I'm going to tag Nigel at Reading Ideas -UZ9XK, Philip Hall at A Poet Reads to Write, John at Disquieting Dragons -LH3ZM, Suey at Suey's Book Banter, Nix at Nix Reads, Kelly at Books I'm Not Reading, Smitty at Book Smitten, Kayla V at Reading with Kayla V, Justin at Triumphal Reads, Milena at Milena Milano 8833. Fred at Read by Fred. Renee and Raina at Beyond Books WT 5IL. Roy and Jenny at Roy Reads Anything. And of course anybody I tag. There's no expectation you do this tag, it's just if you want to. I enjoy doing tags. They just make me think about the books that I read, and just I find it mentally testing. It's interesting for me. And of course, if you do decide to do it, you can answer one or however many questions you want. And if you don't have a channel or you don't feel like doing a video, please answer one or more of the questions in my comments if you'd like. I would be interested in reading your answers. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, please subscribe, please hit the bell to get notified when I upload future videos. I hope you're having a wonderful reading week, and I hope you're having a wonderful week in general.